Hi, my name is Cordero McCall, and I'm a medical student at the Medical College of Wisconsin. Currently, I'm studying to be an orthopedic surgeon. My road to being an orthopedic surgeon was a very tumultuous one. I started off getting my bachelor's degree in science at SUNY Albany. I later went and got my master of public health at that same school. And then years later, I traveled to the Midwest and I joined a program called MedPrep in Southern Illinois University. And I did a postbac for 2 years. After that, I then went off to get a Master of Business Administration and Data Analytics. And then finally, I landed in Wisconsin at the Medical College of Wisconsin to become an orthopedic surgeon. It's such a privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
So this series is called His Voice. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining me. And I am just so proud of the work that you're doing and the impact that you are making. But I know that the impact that you're making and the work that you're doing is not just for yourself. It's not just for self-satisfaction. You have a bigger goal. You have a bigger purpose. What is your purpose and how does that connect to what's going on in the current climate of some of the laws and elections?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And thank you so much for allowing me to be here. When I think about the election and I think about the laws and things that are in place, it really brings me back to why I even decided to go into medicine and be a doctor. Um, I didn't have very many role models growing up, and that inspired me to seek those role models out. Um, and when I think about my road to medicine, it was a tumultuous one. But the leaders that I got involved with in my community were big political leaders. So shout out to Elena Mosley, who does a lot of work in the DEI space for students that don't have access to health, resources, education. Mm-hmm. And when I think about the election that just kind of happened with the debate, we kind of saw a little bit of those same disparities that students like myself had to deal with growing up. A big one of those things were discussions about abortion, right? And how autonomy is not really yours anymore. And I think when I see things like that, that inspires me to create an opportunity where we do have voices and those voices matter. Those voices can create change. So that's why I'm studying to be a physician.
Yeah.
It's why I do the work that I do, which is largely focused in DEI. A lot of the papers that I work on in research are largely focused on creating more opportunities for marginalized communities. Mm-hmm. So that's why I do the work that I do.
And DEI is a pretty heavy topic,
It is, yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Of they're trying to take it out of certain institutions or organizations. What's your thoughts around that?
I think it's unfortunate, and I think we need to stand and we need to voice the impact that it has. As a student who utilizes the DEI service at my institution, there's a power to it. There's a significance there. I didn't receive very many scholarships as a medical student, but DEI programs create opportunities for students who don't have the financial capabilities of completing medical school, complete medical school, mm-hmm. and navigate some of those challenges that are around, food, educational resources, paying for exams. It gets expensive.
Yeah.
And those DEI services are necessary to change that 3% of Black men and women in medicine and up that. There's a reason why we're 3%.
Can you say that again? And what is the percentage?
It's 3%. Wow. So there's 3% of Black men and women in medicine. I think it's specifically men, actually. So 3% of men are in medicine. And that's terrible. Mm-hmm. We have a job to do. And when I think about medicine as a whole, right, there are studies that show that if your provider looks like you, then you'll receive better care, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. So if your provider's Black and I'm working on a Black patient, the outcome is likely to be better, right? There's also studies that show that if you have a patient and a provider who are opposite race, the especially for Black women, the pain medication, if they're in pain, is not uh, equally distributed to those individuals. And I think that you know, being present in those environments to call out those things, doing research driven, making research driven data to answer those questions on why they exist and how to debunk those things are important. And that's the type of work that I do.
Yeah. And we need you in that space. Like, I love your energy. You know what you're talking about. You're passionate about it. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be the example. So, for a young man who is watching this and they're looking to you and they have never seen anyone in this space, what do you have to say to them? What do you have to say to them as far as pursuing a career in the medical space? And just being, active, being civically engaged.
Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna address this one to everyone. The biggest thing you need to do is find a champion for you. Find someone that's gonna be on your team, someone that's gonna hold you accountable and get used to discipline. If there's someone that is not in your immediate circle that is a role model, imagine that role model, right? My imaginary role models when I was a kid was Chadwick Boseman, and the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman. We see that he died from colorectal cancer, which is a preventable disease if we take initiative and we as physicians being more present in the care that we provide our Black and brown men and women. I think it's being present and identifying very early on, if you can, what you want to do, creating more exposure, exposing yourself to opportunities to see what you're actually interested in. I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor. There was just certain things that I was exposed to that I saw, and not in my immediately family. I saw these things on TV, and I was like, wow, you know what? I want to try to replicate that in the future. And then I immerse myself in that environment. So whatever it is that you want to do, latch onto it. There's going to be a lot of people in your life that's going to tell you that you can't do it, but you have to be your own motivator. And that champion that you choose, he equally has to value you becoming whatever it is that you want to become as much as you do. So that's my advice.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You are amazing. I would definitely have my nephew listen to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
To be a guide.
Yeah. You know what? I'm blessed to have mentors. A lot of everything that I've achieved, not a lot, everything that I've achieved, from owning a house, and creating a business to getting into medical school and soon to be applying to residency. These are things that you just cannot do alone. You have to be comfortable. And I think, as a Black man, I can speak about being uncomfortable asking for help. You have to be comfortable asking for help. That is the only way to succeed. We're in year 2024, and racism still exists. And I think there is a duty that we have as leaders to try and change that for our next generation. It's getting better. It's not the same as it was 1900s. There's been improvement, but there's so much more growth that we can do. There's so much more that we can do. And I'm going to take it personal, make it my responsibility to contribute in changing that and being a part of what that change looks like years later. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this platform. I think the work that you do is incredible. And I think the opportunity to be able to speak to our community and let them know that we are seeing the work that needs to be done, and we are motivated and encouraged to do that work.
Yeah.
So thank you.
That's always the goal.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you for watching His Voice series. And for more content, subscribe, watch, learn, and be inspired.